Congressman Michael Burgess with us right now. Congressman, this looks like it's going to drag on a while.
I don't think so. I mean, I realize that neither side appears ready to move, and I thought the president last night put forward a reasoned proposal to the country, and I think it was important that he spoke to the country. The Democratic response, I thought, was a little bit stilted, and of course the discussions have continued today. My understanding is the president is traveling to Texas tomorrow, down to McAllen, Texas. I welcome that. I've been down there plenty of times, and I know I always learn something when I go down there. So I do think the president's visit to Texas is important to learn what's going on the border. And at the end of the day, Neil, I think what is going to happen is the president is going to have to exercise his executive authority to move money from the Department of Defense to the border and build the wall in the area that he feels is most important. And I know there are people on my side who don't like that approach, but at the same time, we just simply can't go on with this impasse. But you saw from what happened at the White House today, the Democrats are so ideologically dug in, they so dislike this president that they are not going to give him anything he wants.
But do you think
the
it's
president
fair
is
when
going
a
to have
lot
to
of
do
your
it.
colleagues, sir, are saying, all right, however strong you feel about something, you, Mr. President, are the one holding the government hostage to your passionate desire for a wall and security. So however meritorious that might be, it did start with the president saying, I'm going to make that the sword I stand on here.
Well, bear in mind the president is not responsible really for any of this right now. If he vetoes a bill that does get through the Senate and goes to his desk, then yes, the president does have part ownership in the shutdown. But right now, the House sent a bill right before Christmas over to the Senate that had the appropriations language. It had some disaster relief.
But the Senate wasn't going to take that up precisely because Mitch McConnell felt that the president would just reject it.
No, the president would have signed that bill had Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, decided that it was important enough to pass it with 51 votes, which you know he can do because he's done it with judge after judge, cabinet secretary after cabinet secretary.
Mitch McConnell shelved it because he was convinced the president wouldn't. You think he would have?
Oh, absolutely. I think he signaled. Look, I'm on the Rules Committee. The Rules Committee the night before, certainly the implication was he wasn't going to sign what the Senate had sent over
but
to rubber stamp.
But you worry, Congressman, that in the process, however, and I know you feel passionately about that, certainly being from Texas. The one thing that amazes me, though, is that as this drags on, it stands a potential that who's to stop a Democratic president from making a same argument for a separate issue and holding the government hostage to that?
Well, as we saw during the Obama years, that did in fact happen, and it happened during the Clinton years. So there's nothing that would stop that. It could still happen.
Maybe this is a signal we should stop that nonsense, and both parties should grow up.
But here's the thing. The president has the authority to end this. I think he needs to go down to the border. I think he's made his case to the American people.
You think by declaring a national emergency or going ahead and taking funds otherwise allocated for other military purposes is his right, and no one would challenge him on that?
Oh, of course he'd be challenged, but he needs to do it because that would end the impasse that we're in right now. $716 billion was appropriated for the Department of Defense on September 30th of last year. I think they can afford the $5 billion
I talked to generals, retired generals, who fear, even though those who agree with the president's concern about the border, it's a very slippery slope. Be careful what you wish for.
But I don't disagree with the generals, but the fact of the matter is that the country is going to be in very, very difficult shape if something bad happens. Fill in the blank on the number of days, but this shutdown needs to end. Something bad is going to happen, and no one wants that to occur. No one wants someone to be hurt.
Each side said they don't want it to happen, but it's happening. All right, Congressman, thank you. I want to get a fair and balanced